Hey, this is Jeff again with the Valhalla Ventures, reiguideservice.com, reiguideservice.com. This is me in front of a whiteboard. Today we're going to talk about some stuff that is like lesson type things. So I thought I'd try it out in front of a whiteboard, and after several long attempts at getting the lighting right, I've given up on getting the lighting right. So this is what the lighting looks like. Hope you like it. Here we go. So, if you are new to the investment business, you are what's known as a newbie. Okay? Newbie. And essentially what that means is that you are new to the real estate investment. You know nothing or little to nothing. Okay? Maybe you've gone to a couple of events or whatnot. But the thing is a lot of people forget when they start out that they will tell people, hey, I'm a newbie, but a lot of times they'll introduce themselves as an investor. Okay? But they aren't really an investor yet because they're still a newbie. Once you invest into real estate, you are an investor in real estate. Now, I should have turned off my notifications before I got started on the old Facebook app over there, but I didn't, so we're going to continue on. Oh look, out of focus, then focus again. Here we go. So a lot of times when this newbie invests in a property for the first time and becomes an investor, they also become a general contractor, okay? Because they don't want to pay for a general contractor. They can oversee the project themselves, right? Well, they also want to be the designer, right? Because that's one of the best parts of investing in real estate is to be able to design real estate. Okay? It's fun. You get a design. Ooh, I want that wall to be mauve. Sounds amazing. Okay? That's newbie. First deal, they are now also the investor, the GC, and the designer. Okay? Now, the thing is not only do they want to be the GC overseeing the entirety of the whole project, but then they're actually going to have to be out on site because they're not going to hire a project manager. So what they're going to do is they're also going to be the project manager. Okay? Also going to be the project manager. So now, not only is this investor, the GC, the designer, the project manager, but guess what? A lot of times they're going to do the demo work. So they're going to be a trade also, right? Because the demo work has to be done properly in order for the next trades to come in and do their jobs properly. Otherwise, they'll have to backtrack, do repairs of the previous trade's work, and then continue forward. And that's costing people money regardless of who that trade is. But in this case, the newbie investor has taken it upon themselves to be the GC, the designer, the project manager, and a trade. At least one, because they also know how to do tile. They also know how to do a little bit about the kitchen cabinet install. So that's another. So then tile, and let's say they're going to go ahead and do all the plumbing fixtures. So that's, electrical work, and then plumbing fixtures. So that's some plumbing work, and they're going to be a lot of trades. They're going to do a lot of trades. Okay. When all of this is done, and there's still more, because, they'll do landscaping, but that's a trade. But, let's not forget about that, because they didn't put that in the original budget, but it's going to need curb appeals. So they're going to put in some landscaping. So you're going to be landscapers. Unfortunately, people make the mistake, especially when they're newbies who have been the investor, maybe went a little over budget because they were the GC and their designer got a little crazy, want to make the best of the best type of deal. Project management wasn't so good at catching problems before they were deep problems. And as a result of that, many of the trades wound up not getting any money because there's no budget for trades to make money. And so when all of this is said and done and they get that little, sales at the end and they got their $20,000 check, they attribute it to just this. They attribute it to being the investor. When in reality, they also forgot that they did all the work of a GC, a designer, a project manager, all the trades, and so on and so forth when doing those calculations to come up with how much. When in reality, if they would have paid a GC and a designer, that probably would have been, let's say $5,000 for overseeing that, which is pretty cheap. Project manager, let's say that's $4,000 to oversee the project from a project management standpoint. And the trades, well, goodness, that's a lot. So as an investor, this deal wasn't all that great. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with being the GC, the designer, the project manager, or even all the trades. I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you want to be the investor and be all those other things. Nothing wrong with that at all. But what is wrong is if you're buying deals only because they're deals, if you are not only the investor but the GC, the designer, the project manager, the trades, and then you actually can make some money. If the only way you make any money is if you're doing all of these things, then just understand that you're not an investor, which is fine. Maybe you don't want to be an investor. Maybe you want to be a rehabber, a repositioner. You want to be a buy and hold investor. Whatever it is that you want to do, that's fine. But just keep in mind that if you bought the deal as if you were an investor who was paying all of these things, you're putting yourself in a position where if something happens, either to you not being able to be the GC, project manager of the trades, something physically happens to you and you put yourself in a position where now your family has to try to figure out how to complete this deal without any of the money to complete that deal. Or the market takes a steep turn and now this $20,000 is only $5,000 because the values have dropped. That's the types of things that you need to be really, really concerned about when you're a newbie. Because a lot of people want to tell you how easy it is, or you know, to be your own boss, to be an investor, to go out and do these things, and that's fine. But when you're a newbie and you've never been a general contractor, you've never been a designer, you've never been a project manager, you've never been a trade, working on your own house projects as you want, putting it off, finishing when you want, going to Home Depot whenever you can, that's not the same thing as an investment property. So if you want to be an investor, if you want to go from newbie to investor, and you want to successfully navigate even all of these things, you have to make sure that you separate what it means to be an investor from being all of these things. Be this first, and as long as the deal makes sense whenever you're doing the numbers here, and you're, as an investor, going to make money by hiring all these trades out, and then you, instead of hiring all those things out, do it yourself and collect that revenue, put that right in your pocket, that's beautiful. But just remember, the deal has to make sense as an investor first. This becomes gambling. This is not gambling, this is investing. When you invest with those numbers, investing. When you invest only if you do all this stuff, that's gambling. Big difference. Stay safe, be blessed, bless others. ReGuideService.com, ReiguideService.com. Later.